6 months ago, I started moving some of my CPF and SRS portfolios from Endowus to Poems, and that was since February 2025. And we are currently in August 2025. So here is a 6 months comparison review of how I feel about these two platforms. Some are good, some are not so good, but are there ways that they can improve? So to put in context, right now I have around $100,000 in Endowus and around $80,000 of portfolio in Poems. And to answer the golden question of why I still have $100,000 in Endowus, that is because I still have some unutilized fee credits that can still be deducted from this pool. So I'm not paying any additional cash to pay for the fees of Endowus. Also, I wanted to try out the Poems Mobile Tree platform so that I can see whether it is suitable because it was relatively new to me back then. And to keep this video objective, I will not be inserting any sponsor, so it is neither sponsored by Endowus nor Poems. Okay, to keep it objective, we be objective a bit. And meanwhile, if you want to join like-minded people looking to invest their wealth and build a better retirement life, then join us at over 21,000 members at Honey Money SG Telegram. Now, for a fair comparison, we will only be discussing about unit trusts because this is what I exactly invest in on both platforms, and it's only applicable to CPF or SRS orders, so we are not talking about cash. And the exact unit trust that I'm investing in is the Amundi Prime USA Fund, which tracks the So Active GBS Large and Mid Caps US Index. So some of you may ask, what's the difference between unit trust and ETF? Now, if I can invest in ETFs using my SRS or CPF, I would have done it. But because that is not available, the next best alternative is actually this unit trust. And the difference between unit trust and ETF is that unit trust only has one NAV, net asset value, at the end of the day. Whereas for ETF, it is traded in public markets, so the price kind of fluctuates throughout the day. I think firstly, let's compare the cut-off time for investing first. And this may be a very key reason on why you may prefer one platform over the other. So let's look at the official source. From Endowus, it says that the cut-off time is 8:30 a.m. every trading day, which means that if you place an order before 8:30 a.m., the order will be executed on the same day based on the NAV, the net asset value. But if you hop over to Poems, the cutoff time is actually 3 p.m. Singapore time, which means that if you place the orders before 3 p.m., it can still get executed on the same day NAV. So that's the difference of more than 6 hours, right? If you're an early riser, like you wake up at 6 or 7 a.m., you still have some time. But if you're a late riser, you wake up at 9 a.m., you really got no time to place your Endowus trades after the US market just closed for the last night trading activity. So I would say objectively, based on cutoff time, Poems is much better because you have up to 3 p.m. to decide rather than Endowus until 8:30 a.m. only. Okay, less time to decide. More time to decide is always better. But if you still don't take action after 3 p.m., then sorry lah, you have to wait for the next day to execute your trade. But on the other hand, if you are doing dollar cost averaging, you are doing your RSP every month or every week, you will just buy on the same day regardless. So without timing the market, I don't think there's any difference because, for example, if you just want to buy on the 15th calendar day every month when your pay comes in previously, then your order will still be executed on the same calendar day. So it doesn't affect much for the RSP or DCA folks. It only affects if you want to do a one-time investment. But I will still prefer Poems for their later cut-off time. Secondly, let's talk about the refresh NAV time. Now, this is specifically for a Amundi Prime USA fund, so depending on what unit trust you invest in, the timing may differ. But from my experience, Endowus offer a much earlier refresh NAV, which means that if I want to check the Amundi Prime USA fund on my Endowus platform, it will be refreshed by 4 p.m. Singapore time, sometimes 5 p.m. But the good gauge is between 4 to 5 p.m. The NAV of Amundi Prime USA fund will be refreshed, and you can have the latest figures. But for Poems, it's another story already because their NAV is refreshed much later. I would say a good gauge is around 7 p.m. Singapore time. Sometimes if you're lucky, 6 p.m. And sometimes if you are really unlucky, until the next morning, then you can see the updated NAV. So my take on this is that Endowus has a faster refresh time on the NAV and updated. So the point goes to Endowus. But I mean, if you're investing for the long term, all these day-to-day price change, NAV change, don't really matter much. Okay, because you haven't even started drawing down your portfolio, you should not be looking at your portfolio. Just focus on investing more capital into it to grow it. Third factor, let's look at performance returns. because on Endowus, it's a very nice user interface. You can actually check out the performance tab. They have multiple returns benchmark that you can use, like simple return, time-weighted return, modified diets rates of return, and even annualized internal rate of return, which is very comprehensive depending on how you want to compare. But if you look back at Poyum's mobile tree platform, it is only a simple return. What you invested versus what is the current net asset value of your portfolio right now. So it's only a simple return based on percentage. Okay, so for performance tracking wise, I would say Endowus is better in this because Poyum's is really very simple, one line, two line thing. Okay, Endowus has multiple metrics that you can look at if you're into this kind of things. Next, let's talk about app user interface. And for this, I think many can agree that Endowus is much easier and cleaner to use because how you click is very intuitive and they guide you on how to do it. But for Poyums, because the mobile app may not be as intuitive, you need to click here and click there. There are more steps to navigate yourself to place the order successfully, but I would say it's much better than in the past. In fact, in my live stream, I did talk about how to invest using your CPF or SRS on Poyum's mobile app. So let's click it in. Now, finally, the most important comparison aspect is on the fees because let us repeat again, cost is guaranteed, profit is not guaranteed. So if you can always search for the lowest, the more affordable cost, go for that platform. And in this case, it's gotta be Poyums because Poyums has zero sales charge and zero platform fees, zero switching costs. This is all highlighted on the website. And Endowus is gonna charge you 0.3% annual fee if you use the Fund Smart. Now, if you cannot really get the difference, for every $10,000 invested at 0.3% per annum fees, that is going to cost you $30. $30 may not seem like a lot, but if you increase your portfolio size to $100,000, that's 10x, right? And the fees are going to be $300 per year, recurring. So here is my overall take on this objective comparison of Poyums versus Endowus after 6 months. There are both good and bad points of each platforms depending on some people may prefer Poyums, some people may prefer Endowus. But to me, the fees and the pricing are the most important factor to consider. So I will prefer Poyums over Endowus because the fees are a recurring thing. If you can save on fees, always save on fees. And to be very clear again, there are no trailer fee rebates even if you're using Endowus for Amundi Prime USA Fund. This is because Amundi themselves do not even charge a trailer fee. So there is no trailer fee recovery even if you're using Endowus to buy these Amundi funds. Because I know that some of you online may have argued that there are some hidden fees that Poyums is taking, trailer fees. But all these are baseless assumptions because you don't even understand what the Amundi fund is all about. And yes, even though I use Poyums or Endowus to invest my CPF and SRS funds, I don't use them to invest my cash funds because my preferred broker is always Interactive Brokers, which you can help support this channel by clicking on this thing or scan the QR code right here. Because this video is not sponsored by any of them, so every click counts and I thank you for your support. So I hope that this has been a clear comparison between Poyums and Endowus. What platform should you go for? I would say just go with the one that you are most comfortable with. Doesn't mean that I prefer Poyums, means you should go for Poyums. Some people just prefer Endowus. And right now, my portfolio in Endowus is still larger than what I have in Poyums for the fee credit reasons, and I still need to utilize them. But if you want to sign up for either of them, don't sign up nakedly. Go and use my referral links in the description to get some welcome rewards, especially in this SG60 season. And if you want to look at my own CPF investment results using my OA funds, I can show you in this previous video right here.